My sister crashed in my Airbnb temporarily, then turned it into a feminist art squat, subletting it illegally and trashing the place. When she tried to claim ownership via squatters' rights, I transferred utilities to her name, forged a lease to trap her, and reported her unreported income to the IRS. The state auctioned the house. I bought a condo in Seattle, and now she's TikTok famous for van life rants about family betrayal. The doorbell rang at 8:03 p.m., which was annoying because check-in hours end at 7. I just poured myself a glass of Malbec and opened Succession on the projector, my one sacred ritual between scrubbing toilets and mediating reviews titled 5 stars, but the towels smelled like existential dread. I hesitated, debating whether to pretend I'd already taken my melatonin. But then the knocking started. Not polite taps, the kind of thuds that scream, "I know you're in there." I yanked the door open, ready to deploy my per-the-house manual speech, and froze. Lila stood on the porch. My sister. Not the version from Mom's funeral 3 years ago. Blunt-cut bob, black dress, mascara streaked like she'd auditioned for a Lifetime movie. No, this was derailment chic Lila. Hair dyed the color of Tang, a crocheted poncho swallowing her frame, and a suitcase big enough to fit a body. "Surprise," she said, grinning like she'd just invented the concept. The wine in my hand suddenly felt flimsy. "What are you doing here?" "Crashing with my favorite little sis." She breezed past me, her patulous stink trailing behind. "Wow, this place is obsessive. Who vacuums their baseboards?" "People who don't want roaches." I didn't move from the doorway. "Lila, I rent this place out. You can't just." "Relax, it's temporary." She plopped onto the white sectional, hiking boots on the cushion. My roommate turned out to be a literal meth dealer. "Can you believe it?" "Yes." She pulled a vape pen from her fanny pack. "Mom would have wanted us to stick together, right?" There it was. The gilt grenade she'd been holding onto since the cemetery. I stared at the suitcase. "How temporary?" "A week. 2 max." She blew a smoke ring toward the pendant light. "I just need to regroup. Maybe start my Etsy shop." "You said that about the candle business. And the sound baths." "Third time's the charm." She flicked her wrist, and that's when I saw it, the charm bracelet. Our mom's. The one she'd lost months before she died. My throat tightened. I'd searched everywhere for that thing, even checked pawn shops. Lila caught me staring. "Found it in her jewelry box." "You want it?" "It was mine. Mom promised." But Lila always got what she wanted. "Keep it," I lied. She shrugged. "Your loss. Anyway, where's the guest house?" "I saw pics online. Cute little shed vibes." "It's booked." Also a lie. I'd blocked it off this month to refinish the floors, but no way was I giving her a key. Not after last time. "So, I'll take the couch." She kicked her feet up. "Don't worry, I'll Venmo you rent." "Sure you will." I opened my mouth to say no, to scream get out, to ask why she only remembers we're sisters when she needs something. But Mom's voice slithered into my head. "She's your blood, Amara. Be the bigger person." "1 week," I said, "and you stay in the guest house. No parties, no smoking inside, no." "Scout's honor." She mock saluted. "You're a lifesaver, Mare Bear." 3 days later, I came home from Whole Foods to find a mariachi band in my living room. I'd spent the morning deep cleaning a rental where someone had apparently tried to fry chicken in the bidet. All I wanted was to shower and burn my clothes. Instead, I nearly tripped over a case of Modelo on the porch. The front door was propped open with a garden gnome I didn't own. Inside, a dozen strangers in crop tops and trucker hats were shouting over Despacito. Someone had draped fairy lights over my framed law degree. A guy in a sombrero, not even a Mexican guy, was doing tequila shots off my coffee table. And Lila? She was dancing on the kitchen island, her poncho swinging like a disco ball. "Amara." She hopped down, nearly spilling her drink. "Meet my new friends. We're celebrating my collab with this sustainable kombucha brand." "Out." My voice cut through the music. "What?" "Get them out." She laughed. "Don't be such a Puritan. Have a shot." That's when I saw it. The vintage Tiffany lamp Mom gave me for passing the bar, the one I'd kept in a locked display case, was now tilted on the floor, its stained glass shade shattered into kaleidoscope pieces. I crouched down, picking up a shard of blue glass. "Who did this?" Lila blinked. "Oh my God, relax. I'll Venmo you." "With what money?" The words came out sharp, serrated. "The meth dealers? Or the roommate you probably stole from?" The room went quiet. Lila's smile hardened. "You're such a bitch, you know that? Mom would have hated what you've become." I stood up, the glass biting my palm. "Get out, all of you." She rolled her eyes. "Fine, we'll take the party to the guest house." "No, You're done. I pointed to the door. Leave the keys. Or what? She stepped closer, her breath sweet with stolen top-shelf tequila. You'll sue me? Call the cops. I didn't flinch. Try me. She stared at me, then snorted. Whatever. This place was mid anyway. They left. I stood there, clutching the glass until blood dotted the floor. Then I texted my handyman. Change the locks. Today. But as I swept up the lamp's remains, I found a single charm from the bracelet tangled in the rug. A tiny silver scales of justice. Mom's voice again. Be the bigger person. I pocketed the charm. Not this time. Lila came back at 3 a.m. 2 days later, pounding on the guest house door like a cop with a vendetta. I watched from my bedroom window as she yelled into her phone. No, I'm the host. Some psycho changed the locks. I'll comp your stay, just fine, sue me. She kicked the door frame, then noticed me staring. Enjoy the show, she shouted. I let the curtain drop. By morning, she pried open a window. I found her passed out on the guest house floor, surrounded by half-unpacked canvases and empty Red Bull cans. She'd painted the walls neon green. My walls. The ones I'd spent a weekend hand-stenciling with tasteful ferns. Upgrade, she mumbled, peeling her face off a drop cloth. This place was giving hospice before. You're trespassing, I said, holding up the keyless deadbolt receipt like a warrant. She snorted. After 30 days, I'm a tenant. Look it up, Esquire. I did. Worse, in California, if someone pays utilities for 90 days, they can claim adverse possession, aka squatters' rights, aka legalized theft. That's when I noticed the smell. Is that spray paint? I squinted at a cluster of aerosol, cans labeled non-toxic, vegan, next to my vintage rug. Relax, it's organic. She shook a can and tagged the fridge with a cartoon uterus wearing sunglasses. For my new series, Womb with a View, investors are obsessed. Investors, I repeated flatly. My Airbnb guests. She smirked, tossing me a phone. Her profile, at Free Spirit Host, listed my property as a radical feminist art commune. 5 bookings already. $300 per night. My thumb hovered over review. Lila's the chillest host. She let us do shrooms in the hot tub. You're subletting my rental? Collab ing, she corrected. I'm adding value. Your decor was literally oppressing people. I wanted to crack the phone over her head. Instead, I took a photo of her screen. You've got 6 hours to cancel these bookings. Or what? You'll sue. She fake yawned. I'll countersue for emotional labor. That lamp was fugly anyway. I walked out. Call the cops. They said without a formal lease, it's a civil matter. Suggested I work it out like family. So I worked it out. The next morning, I accidentally forwarded the water bill to Lila's email. Attached a sweet note. Since you're using the space, let's split utilities. Smiley face. She paid it. Of course she did. She thought she was playing me. I rerouted the gas, electric, trash, every bill I could legally transfer. She Venmo'd me dutifully, smug as a cat with a bird. Meanwhile, her art spread like mold. She replaced the guest bed with a minstrel tapestry, used condoms glued to burlap, hung patriarchy wind chimes, rusty wrenches, from the patio, and hosted healing circles where strangers cried into my good towels. Every night, her Airbnb guests clogged the toilet or vaped in the shower. Every morning, I submitted damage claims through her host account. She didn't notice. 3 weeks in, I found her digging through my recycling bin. Need something? I asked, leaning against the doorframe. She jerked up, clutching empty wine bottles. These are mine. For my pantry? For my mosaic. She gestured to the guest house, now resembling a landfill's idea of a gender reveal party. It's called Fragments of Feminine Rage. Got a gallery interested in the mosaic or the rage. She ignored me, tucking a bottle under each arm. By the way, thanks for the utility hookup. You're way less uptight now. Growth, I deadpanned. She narrowed her eyes. Why are you being nice? I plucked a leaf from her hair. Pink now, probably DIY dye. Mom always said I should support your passions. The lie tasted sweet. She softened. Yeah, well, thanks. For a heartbeat, almost felt bad. Then she said, oh, can I borrow your car? I'm taking my guests to Joshua Tree tomorrow. No. Ugh, fine. I'll rent one. She stomped off, muttering, probably report me for not signaling. The next day, a city inspector showed up. Complaint about unpermitted construction, he said, eyeing Lila's art studio, a tarp-covered shrine to chaos. I played clueless. My sister's the tenant. She's avant-garde. He cited her for electrical violations, extension cords powering her mood lighting, and illegal plumbing, a bucket she'd labeled compost toilet. When Lila stormed in that night, I was microwaving pad thai. "You narked on me," she screamed, waving the citation. I shrugged. Should have pulled permits. "You're jealous. I'm actually creating something, and you're just dusting." The microwave beeped. I stir my noodles. "Pay the fines by Friday, or they'll lien the property." "With what money? You're bleeding me dry." "Funny," I said, taking a bite. "I was just thinking the same thing." She lunged, but caught herself. Swallowed the rage. Forced a smile. "You win," she said, saccharine. "I'll clean up." "Good. And I'll stop the Airbnb." "Better." "But," she twisted Mom's bracelet. "I need to stay until my lease is up. For stability." I almost choked. "You don't have a lease." She pulled a crumpled paper from her poncho, a fake lease I'd planted weeks ago, backdated and signed with a scribble. "Adverse possession," she said, savoring the words. 90 days. Then this place? It's mine." I let my eyes widen, let my voice shake. You can't." "Watch me." She flounced out, texting her latest fling, celebrating TN. "My house now, bitches nail polish." I waited until her door slammed. Then I opened the city's website and paid her fines myself. Lila's victory party was in full swing by the time I got home. The bass in the guest house thumped through the walls, rattling the framed photos of Mom that I kept on the mantel. I stood in the kitchen, clutching a lukewarm coffee, listening to the muffled cheers and the clink of bottles. She'd strung Christmas lights over the patio in April and hung a banner that read "Squatters' Rights, Baby" in glitter. Classy. I'd spent the day at the county clerk's office, filing another round of anonymous complaints about Lila's unpermitted renovations. The inspector had already slapped her with fines for the illegal wiring and the compost toilet she'd rigged out of a Home Depot bucket. But today's visit was personal. I brought photos. Lila's neon womb mural, the condom tapestry, the extension cords snaking through the yard like neon vipers. The clerk's eyebrows had practically hit her hairline. "This is creative," she'd said, stamping the forms with a grimace. Back home, I opened my laptop and pulled up the folder I'd labeled Taxes 2023. Inside, screenshots of Lila's Airbnb account, utility bills in her name, and a scan of the fake lease I'd planted in her art supplies last week. She'd fallen for it like a toddler chasing candy. The lease was a masterpiece, backdated, riddled with typos, and signed with a loopy scribble I'd copied from her old birthday cards. I'd even spilled coffee on it for authenticity. The guest house door slammed. Lila stumbled into the kitchen, her hair streaked with blue chalk, reeking of tequila and weed. "Mayor Bear," she slurred, sloshing her drink onto the tiles. "You're missing the best party. Derek's here. He's a DJ/Reiki master. Totally aligned with my vibe." "I'm good," I said, not looking up. She flopped in the chair across from me, kicking her boots onto the table. "Still playing Spreadsheet Warrior? God, you're such a cliche." I clicked print on a PDF of her forged lease. The printer hummed. "Someone's got to adult around here." She snorted. "Adulting is a scam. I'm out here living." She leaned in, her breath sour. "You know what your problem is? You're scared to get messy." The printer spat out the document. I slid it into a manila envelope. "Messy costs money." "Money's a construct." She waved her vape pen. "Besides, this place is mine in, what's 60 days? Adverse possession, baby." I looked it up. I froze, halfway through sealing the envelope. "You what?" She grinned, all teeth. 90 days of utilities, paid by me. Boom, squatters' rights. Your little casa becomes mi casa. She spread her arms like a game show host. Surprise. I let my jaw drop. Let my hands tremble. "You can't do that." "Already am." She snatched the envelope. "What's this?" "Love letter to your stapler." I lunged, but she danced back, tearing it open. Her eyes scanned the lease, then narrowed. "Wait, this is my lease." "Give it back," I hissed. She held it high, mocking. "Ah, did I hurt your feelings?" "Don't worry, I'll take good care of Mom's lamp." "Oh wait, oops." I lunged again. She darted into the living room, cackling, and tripped over the rug. The envelope flew, paper scattering. That's when I saw it. The charm bracelet. It glinted under the couch, half buried in dust. Mom's scales of justice charm, still attached. Lila froze, mid-taunt. "Is that?" I scooped it up, heart pounding. "You left it in the guest house." She stared, her smirk faltering. "I was gonna give it back. For real this time." "Bullshit." "No swear." She reached for it. "Here, take it. Peace offering." I clenched it in my fist. The edges bit my palm. "Why now?" She shrugged, suddenly small. "Maybe I'm tired of fighting." For a second, I almost believed her. Then my phone buzzed. A notification from a county. Complaint number 20392 approved. Notice of violation issued. I slipped the bracelet into my pocket. You should check your mail. The notice came the next morning. Certify, of course. Lila ripped it open on the porch, her hangover sunglasses slipping down her nose. What the hell is this? Eviction notice, I said, watering Mom's succulents. It says I own the guest house. I hid a smile. Must be a mistake. She shoved the paper in my face. See? Legal transfer of title via adverse possession. I fucking won. I'll let the hose drip onto my shoes. Wow, congrats. She hooped, spinning in a circle. I'm a homeowner. Do I get a tax break? Can I Airbnb the main house? Knock yourself out. She sprinted inside, screeching, Derek, we're getting so high tonight. I stayed on the porch, deadheading geraniums, until the sun dipped low. Then I pulled out the charm bracelet. The scale swung, catching the light. Mom's voice, soft and chiding. Be the bigger person, Amara. I hurled the bracelet into the bushes. That night, Lila's housewarming party shook the walls. I sat at the kitchen table, drafting an email to the IRS. Attached, screenshots of Lila's Airbnb income, her Venmo transactions, and a little surprise I'd found in her trash. A shredded W-2 from 2021. Subject line, anonymous tip, tax fraud at 3421 Oak Lane. I hit send as the bass dropped. Lila's laughter pierced through the walls, sharp and bright. I poured myself a glass of Malbec. Cheers, sis. The IRS showed up on a Tuesday. I know because Lila's scream was so loud it drowned out my morning podcast. I was halfway through an episode about tax loopholes. Irony's a bitch when the sound of shattering glass cut through the guesthouse wall. I sipped my coffee, leaning against the kitchen counter, and waited. Amara. She burst through the back door, barefoot and wild-eyed, clutching a letter like it was a live grenade. What the hell is this? I glanced at the IRS logo in the corner. Looks like mail. They froze my accounts. Her voice cracked. They're saying I owe $28,000. Back taxes, penalties, what did you do? I stirred creamer into my coffee. Slow. Methodical. You're the one running a business out of my property. Should have filed a Schedule C. Your property? She slammed the letter on the counter. I own the guest house. Adverse possession, remember? Oh, right. I took another sip. Then I guess the lien applies to your equity. Her face went slack. Lien. You didn't read the fine print? I pulled up the county website on my phone, zooming in on the red lien stamp across the property listing. IRS gets first dibs when they seize assets. Congrats, homeowner. She grabbed the phone, her hand shaking. This isn't possible. You're lying. Check your inbox. She scrolled, her breath quickening. Notice of federal tax lien. She looked up, tears smudging her eyeliner into Raccoon Barbie. Fix this. You're a lawyer. Fix it. I'm not your lawyer. I reclaim my phone. I'm your landlord, and you're behind on rent. Rent? She laughed, hysterical. You gave me this place. Prove it. She lunged for the fake lease in the drawer. I let her fumble through papers, her desperation souring the air. When she waved it in my face, I plucked it from her grip. This signature? I traced the scribble. Not mine. Not notarized. Worth less than your kombucha empire. She stared at me. Really stared. For the first time in decades, I saw it. Fear. Raw, undiluted. You set me up. I didn't blink. You set yourself up. All I did was stop cleaning up your mess. She backed away, tripping over Mom's old rug. You're a monster. No, I said, sliding the lien notice toward her. I'm the one who kept receipts. She trashed the guest house that night. I heard it from my bedroom. The smash of glass, the splinter of wood, the primal screams that sounded more animal than human. By the time I walked over, she'd shredded her womb mural, snapped her wind chimes into shrapnel, and spray-painted Traitor across the fridge. She stood in the wreckage, chest heaving, clutching a broken bottle. Happy now? I stepped over a decapitated teddy bear from her art installation. You missed a spot. The bottle sailed past my head, exploding against the doorframe. Fuck you. I didn't flinch. Pack your stuff. Sheriff comes tomorrow. She laughed, raw and broken. You'd really make me homeless? No. I pulled a charm bracelet from my pocket, the one she'd gifted me, now tarnished. You did that yourself. She lunged, but I sidestepped. She crumpled into the debris, sobbing. Why are you doing this? I crouched, eye level with her smudged mascara. Remember when you sold Mom's pearls for concert tickets? Or when you told Dad I stole his Vicodin? Or when you? That was years ago. And now it's now. I dropped the bracelet into her lap. Some debts take time to collect. She was gone by sunrise. No note, no goodbye, just a half-empty tube of glitter glue and a lingering stench of weed. The guest house looked like a crime scene, but I didn't care. I called a dumpster, tossed her art, and power washed the walls until the last trace of her faded. The IRS lien stuck. The house will be auctioned next month. Mom's voice whispered, "Was it worth it?" I stood in the empty guest house, sunlight streaming through the freshly scrubbed windows. Yes, it fucking was. The dumpster arrived at dawn, its metal jaws yawning wide enough to swallow every last scrap of Lila's chaos. I tossed in her condom tapestry, her wind chimes made of wrenches, and the neon uterus mural she'd once called a manifesto. The glitter glue, the half-empty Red Bull cans, the shredded lease she'd clung to like scripture, all of it gone by noon. The guest house stood bare, sunlight bleaching the stains on the floor where her delusions had festered. Mom's charm bracelet sat on my kitchen counter, tarnished and silent. I'd fished it out of the bushes, thinking I'd keep it as a trophy. But when I held it up to the light, all I saw was a chain of guilt, each charm a tiny anchor. I dropped it into the donation bin at the thrift store, right on top of a pile of someone else's discarded prom dresses. Let haunt another family. The house sold at auction 2 weeks later. Some tech bro in Patagonia fleece bid sight unseen, probably to flip it into a mindful co-living space. I didn't stick around for the closing. Took the cash, bought a studio in Seattle, and left the keys in the mailbox. Mom called the night before I left. "You didn't have to humiliate her," she said. "No hello." "You didn't have to enable her," I replied. A pause. Static crackled like old bones. "She's your sister. And I'm your daughter." She hung up. The condo was a blank slate. White walls, empty cabinets, a view of rain-soaked streets. No Airbnb manuals, no family heirlooms, no ghosts. I bought a new coffee maker, a desk, and a plan I couldn't name. It died in a week. Lila found me anyway. Her TikTok popped up on my feed at 2 a.m., algorithmically doomed. She'd filmed herself in a neon-lit van, hair matted, voice hoarse. "Toxic family alert," she rasped, angling the camera to show a handwritten sign taped to the window. "Life's a squat. Rent-free." "My sister evicted me for, existing," she said, pausing for a sniffle. "But karma's coming. I'm manifesting a commune. A safe space for survivors of narcissistic abuse." Comments scrolled like a funeral march. "Queen, crown, family is trauma. Can I Venmo you?" I screenshot the video, zoomed in on the van's license plate, and sent it to the IRS tip line. Anonymous, of course. Then I blocked her. The last box I unpacked was labeled office. Inside, my old laptop, a stack of utility bills, and the framed eviction notice. I propped it on the windowsill, the glass catching the gray Seattle light. People ask if I miss it. The house, the fight, the drama. They don't get it. Missing isn't the right word. It's like when you finally take off a too tight shoe. You don't miss the pinch, but your foot still feels phantom pressure. I poured a glass of Malbec, toasted the rain, and logged in my new bank account. No shared expenses. No emergencies. No Venmo, please. Just a number on a screen, clean and cold in mine. The doorbell rang. For a heartbeat, I froze, wine sloshing. Lila, Dad, the pass come to collect. But it was just a neighbor, holding a Ms. delivered package. "Welcome to the building," she said. I took the box, unmarked and light. Inside was a single keychain from Alyssa, Liam's ex, problem solver engraved on a silver tag. No note, none needed. I slip it onto my keyring, the metal clicking softly. "Checkout time's over."